Hello, welcome back to Resolutions. Today we're going to be taking you on a ride on the brand spanking new 2021 Honda CB650R. This is going to be a two-part edition. The first part is going to be our ride and first impressions, letting you know what we think about this bike, and the second part is going to be a walk around, an in-depth review and look at what the bike has got to offer. So let's get on the bike and let's take you for a ride. Okay, so I've had this bike for 3 days now. I put about 150 miles on the bike, so I've got quite familiar with how this bike works, its flaws, its positive parts. I'll give you a good honest review of what I think. So this bike has got 94 brake horsepower, an amount of torque which I'm going to put in the screen now, and the torque that this bike has got coupled with the brake horsepower really does work. You can pull away quite comfortably in pretty much any gear. Now this is going to be good. We've got a fair bit of traffic now, so I can show you how agile and narrow this bike is. It really is good at filtering. There we go. Now I'm used to driving a big bike. This one I can easily nip in and out of traffic, no problem whatsoever. So if you're looking for a bike around town, around cities, that can cope really well with traffic, definitely look at this bike, because it is fantastic for doing just that. Now obviously this is a naked bike, so you've got no wind protection whatsoever, and that really is noticeable when you get up to high speeds above, I'd say above 50-60 miles an hour. You really do start to feel the wind pushing against your chest and holding you back. So I think for a long distance journey on a national speed limit road, you are going to struggle. I took this on a run up to Hazelmere Motorcycles from Crescent Honda in Southampton, and I was knackered by the time I got there. I was literally fighting the wind the whole way, and it wasn't enjoyable. So this review is not going to be right. This is a fourth gear roll on up to 70 miles an hour, effortless, absolutely effortless on this bike, which is what you want. You don't want to be struggling to get up to speed limits. You want a nice easy effortless ride. So what I won't be doing with this review is going onto the motorway. This isn't a bike you're going to be wanting to use up and down the motorway all day long. If you are going to be taking it on the motorway, you will be absolutely fine. You will get on the motorway and you will get to your journey, no problem at all. However, it will get tiring. So the actual positioning of this bike when you're sat on it is really comfortable. You are leant forward slightly, but you are upright still. So there's no sports bike like positioning on this bike. The legs are pretty much at a 90-degree bend for a 5'7" rider, and again filtering. Look at this amount of standstill traffic all the way through, nice and easy. Right, what I'm going to do now is a say 0 to 60 run, 0 to 60 and then basically up to the speed limit of 70. See what this bike has got. Right, all clear, and up to 70. There we go, nice and quick. This bike has got no problem at all getting up to speed limits. The bike has got plenty of power for a 650. You're not going to be disappointed. You can easily get up to the speed limits pretty much in any gear you want. It's got a nice amount of torque, so when you do want to just open that throttle up, doesn't matter what gear you're in, it will just pull you away nicely. Like I said, I've had this bike for about 150 miles now, and the manoeuvrability on it is absolutely spot on. It's such an agile bike. You can just nip in and out of anywhere you want really quickly. It doesn't cause you any problems at all. The seating position is nice and comfy. The seat is relatively firm, but it's not giving me any problem. I would say that the suspension on the rear could do with softening up a little bit. It is quite a stiff suspension on the setting that it's on at the moment, and I am finding it quite difficult. After riding the bike for a few hours, I do feel like I just want to get off and have a break for a moment. But again, that's just something that comes in time. You're going to set this bike up perfectly to how you want it, so I don't think that's a big negative. That's just something that can be adjusted to meet your needs. Now when you look down on the display, it is really simple. Everything just stands out, pops out at you nice and clear. You've got on the left hand side your rev counter, your fuel gauge, which is nice to see on a motorbike because a lot of bikes don't have fuel gauges. You got your clock at the top, smack bang in the middle you got your speedo, your miles per gallon at the bottom. On the bottom right hand corner you have your mileometer, and then when you start running out of fuel it swaps to how many miles you got left on your range, which is quite handy to have. And above you got your engine temperature. So it's just really simple setup, and at night time the display is amazing, and I will add that display to either this video or the next video, not too sure yet, but just keep an eye out. I'll probably put it in the second part. Yeah, I'll put it in the second part, so if you do want to see what this bike is like at night, have a look at that second video, which I'll post a week after this one, just so you can have a view of both. Now the visibility on this bike is really good. You're not really high up, however you are at a slightly higher elevated position than cars. Obviously if you're taller you're going to be a lot more elevated, but it does give you good visibility when you're sat in traffic or sat behind one or two vehicles. I'm not getting any heat off of the engine blowing back into me, which is an issue sometimes. The mirrors are really good. They're easy to adjust, and once you've adjusted them to your setting, you don't even need to bring your elbows in. You just look into the mirror and see exactly what you need to see behind. The handling of the bike is phenomenal. It is really flickable, goes wherever you want. It weighs 202 kilograms, and at no point have I actually felt like I'm on a 200 plus kilogram bike. It is really, I think the weight distribution that Honda have done with this bike is absolutely spot on. When you're manoeuvring it, when you're walking the bike, it does not feel heavy. When you're on it and you're riding, it does not feel heavy. You're not going to be sitting in traffic with this bike at all. You're going to get to where you need to go. It seems pretty economical on fuel, because obviously this isn't my bike and I don't know when I'm going to have to give it back at the moment. I may put a £5 in it every time I ask for it, basically. So I'm getting about 40-50 miles to £5 worth of fuel, which is really good. So I would say this bike is pretty economical. The clutch is very light. It's a cable operated clutch. It's not an adjustable clutch lever, however there is an adjustable front brake lever. The brakes on this bike are really good. The only issues I've got, like I said so far, is the suspension, and there's no wind protection, but it's a naked bike, so that's not relevant. And I'm not that disappointed by it at all. I really am not. I think if you've been considering one of these bikes, take it out for a test ride. I don't think you're going to be disappointed. When you open the throttle, you do have a lot of torque at your availability and a lot of power. It's not the amount of power that's going to set the world on fire, but it is a good amount of power that is probably not going to get you in trouble too much, but if you're not careful with the speedo, you will get yourself in trouble. So there's that fine balance on this bike. Now with the controls on the bike, they are really simple. You've got basic controls on the left, basic controls on the right. I'm not going to go into them on this video because I will do that on part 2. However, my biggest bug with this bike is on most motorcycles, you've got a pass light at the top where your index finger is, right there. This one is your traction control, and I have a few times gone to flash a vehicle and turn the traction control off. Not that it makes any difference, but it's not what I want. I want the flash. Your flash for this bike is there. It's on your low beam button. You just press it down and you flash. As you can see, if I turn the traction control off now, it comes up on the screen orange with a big cross through it, and then you just hold it again and it turns it on. Nice and simple. Now the throttle I do find a little bit jerky on this bike. Every now and again I feel like I'm on a bit of a bucking bucko, whatever you want to call it. Let's go back round here. Get another nice tight manoeuvre. Very simple. Go down here. As you can see, I'm having no issue whatsoever on the little tight turns for this machine. Another thing I like about this bike is when you do come to a stop, it is very easy just to put your foot down. I mean, my left foot now is completely flat-footed, as you can see. Got no problem at all getting the foot down, and the majority of the time both feet are flat-footed, which is another nice thing about this motorcycle. You don't want to be on your tiptoes all the time, but this is what I do love about it. This is what I've missed, being able to filter. So would I buy a Honda CB650R? I don't think so. I do like it. I do think it is a fun bike and it is an easy ride, but for me, I don't think I'm quite sold on it. I think there's a lot of other bikes out there that I would have to consider, because I think it's just the nakedness of this bike. I don't know. I don't know. I wouldn't buy this bike, but that's not saying it's a bad bike. I genuinely think this is a fantastic little bike. It's just not for me. It is just not for me. So this is my review of this bike around an urban environment where I believe it's going to be used the most. It's absolutely suited for it. I mean, just like this, it is easy and nimble to get through traffic. If you want to get home on time and you've got this bike, it's going to be easy. You're not going to be sat in any traffic whatsoever. And look at that BMW down there. Beautiful bike, but what an absolute lump. That rider's not going to be able to filter very easily, whereas on this, effortless. Handles going around corners really well as well. It's a great bike, love it. And let's get it back to the start. I don't know if you can hear that engine noise. It is phenomenal. I really like it. It's a great engine sound. Good clutch control on this one as well. Off-road suspension is not that bad. I just find the bumps on the road quite painful. Now let's park it up. And let's round off here. So thank you for watching this episode of Resolutions. This is the riding review of the Honda CB650R. If you like this video, give me a big thumbs up, leave a comment in the comment section below, let me know what you like about this bike. Have you ridden the previous ones to this? Is it much different? I'd love to know what your thoughts are. Episode 2, like I said at the start of this video, is going to be all about the walk around, the talk through of this bike, and giving you a good idea what this bike looks like and what its features are. So if you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button, give us a big thumbs up, press your bell for your notifications, and until part 2, ride safe and we'll see you soon.